In this 5th episode of the Portage Health Foundation's Addiction series, we dive into the economic impact that addiction has on our community with the Executive Director of the Foundation, Kevin Storr. I'm Sarah Blakely, your host for this series. Kevin and I worked together many times while I was the TV6 Bureau reporter right here in the Copper Country. His passion and vision for what needs to improve in this community has made a huge difference for years and will only be more evident in years to come.
What is the economic impact of addiction on our community? That's a tough question because, you can look at the cost of addiction in terms of the burden that it places on our healthcare system and the burden that it places on pain-seeking, drug-seeking patients that are clogging up our primary care and the impact that has on terms of patient access. Our emergency rooms, our law enforcement, our court systems, our nonprofit organizations. I mean, the list goes on, all of which has a dollar symbol assigned to it. I think what makes that question so difficult is how do you measure the cost of addiction on a broken family, on a broken marriage, on a broken home? How do you measure the loss and put a value to the loss on that life that was lost to an overdose, whether it be a young life or somebody that's a little bit more mature in years? There are studies that show, almost an 11-to-1 return on investment for every dollar that you put into prevention and treatment as coming back to that community. So if you're putting in $1, you're going to get $11 in savings back. So, when we start looking at solutions to these issues and you start looking at what is the cost of actually addressing the problem, I guess the challenge that I would put out to those that are watching this video is what is the cost of not addressing the problem? What is it costing our young people? What is it costing the productivity of that manufacturing company because he doesn't have employees that are at their full potential, or the cost of hiring new employees because he can't take 6 or 7 to get through a drug test before he can hire one of them? I think that's an important takeaway from this, and maybe a little bit of a call to action for our community is to really start looking at, even though you may not have it in your bottom line, this is costing you money. It's costing our taxpayers money. It's costing our businesses money. It's costing our community money. But most importantly, it's costing our community and our children and their future. That's where the cost is coming from. And I honestly I haven't come up with the magic equation for that.
Thanks to Kevin for sharing that insight. In this next episode, we take a look at the cycle of addiction and how it can make good people do bad things. If you or someone you know is struggling with addiction, know that there are resources available in our community. Dial Help is a great place to start. They have a crisis line 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, based right here in the Copper Country. Just dial 906-482-HELP, text 90635-NEEDS, or chat live with someone at dialhelp.org. If you're in any kind of medical emergency, dial 911 immediately. To learn more about the resources available in our community or to subscribe for email alerts for future episodes, just visit phfgive.org/addiction.